Today, you can open a blank chat box and ask it to write an email, summarize a report, translate a paragraph, explain a difficult idea, or debug a piece of code. A few seconds later, words begin appearing on the screen. It feels normal now, but rewind to November 29th, 2022. ChatGPT was not yet public. If you needed help, you moved between search engines, documents, forums, translators, grammar tools, and coding websites. One task could mean 5 tabs, 3 copy and pastes, and a lot of judgment. Then, on November 30th, boom. Not a giant keynote, not a global countdown. A free research preview quietly appeared online. 5 days later, more than 1 million people had tried it. So what was still completely ordinary one day earlier? And why did this simple chat box spread so quickly? The strange thing is that artificial intelligence was already everywhere. It ranked social feeds, filtered spam, recommended videos, completed sentences, recognized speech, and helped power search. Developers had access to powerful language models through APIs. GPT-3 had already shown that a machine could generate surprisingly fluent text. But most people did not experience that power as a free, general-purpose conversation. They did not open one simple box, describe a task in ordinary language, ask a follow-up question, correct the request, and receive a new answer in seconds. That was the real difference. Before ChatGPT, digital help was usually specialized. Search engines found links. Translators translated. Grammar tools corrected sentences. Forums answered technical questions. Documents held drafts. Each tool could be useful, but the user still had to connect the pieces. A student searching for an explanation might open articles, videos, academic papers, and forum discussions, then compare them and build a summary. A programmer might read documentation, search Stack Overflow, test several answers, and repair the code line by line. A writer might move between a blank document, a dictionary, a grammar checker, a translator, and a page full of notes. The work was not impossible. It was fragmented. And behind the clean simplicity of ChatGPT was a much harder problem. A large language model does not search its memory like a human expert. It predicts what word or token is most likely to come next, based on patterns learned from enormous amounts of text. That can produce language that sounds confident, clear, and intelligent. But fluency is not the same as truth. Earlier systems could ignore instructions, invent facts, become repetitive, or produce unsafe responses. OpenAI's work on InstructGPT used human demonstrations and ranked comparisons to make models follow instructions more reliably. ChatGPT extended that approach into dialogue. You could ask a second question. You could clarify what you meant. You could say, "Make it shorter," or "Explain it like I'm a beginner." That conversational loop made the model easier to use. It also made its mistakes easier to trust. On November 29, 2022, none of this looked historic. There was no public ChatGPT service. There was no mass habit of asking a general-purpose AI to draft, explain, summarize, or brainstorm. For most people, that Tuesday ended with the same digital routines with which it had begun. Tabs closed, laptops shut, phones went onto bedside tables. The last ordinary day did not feel like the last ordinary day. Its importance only exists in hindsight. The next day, OpenAI published a page introducing ChatGPT as a research preview. The company described a conversational model that could answer follow-up questions, admit some mistakes, challenge false premises, and reject certain inappropriate requests, It was free during the preview, and OpenAI said the goal was to gather feedback about the system's strengths and weaknesses. The launch page also carried warnings. ChatGPT could produce answers that sounded reasonable but were wrong. It was sensitive to the wording of prompts. It could be excessively verbose. It could guess what a user meant instead of asking for clarification. Its safety systems were incomplete. In other words, the breakthrough was not perfection. It was access. For the first time, the public could directly experiment with a powerful language model through an interface they already understood: conversation. People immediately began testing the boundaries. They asked for poems, jokes, essays, explanations, code, study plans, fictional scenes, and combinations no product team could have predicted. Screenshots spread because the experience felt different from ordinary software. You were not choosing a command from a menu. You were negotiating with a machine in everyday language. Wonder arrived beside doubt. On December 5th, Stack Overflow temporarily banned ChatGPT-generated posts. Moderators warned that many answers looked convincing while being wrong, and that checking them was overwhelming human reviewers. By December 9th, Nature was already reporting concerns about student essays, assessment, and academic integrity. The same quality created both the excitement and the danger. The system could produce useful-looking language with almost no effort, whether the result was accurate or not. And the scale kept growing. In January 2023, analysts at UBS, using similar web data, estimated that ChatGPT had reached 100 million monthly active users. It was a third-party estimate, not an audited OpenAI count. But the direction was undeniable. In February, Google announced Bard. Microsoft introduced a new AI-powered Bing with chat and content generation. In March, OpenAI released GPT-4. Generative AI moved rapidly into education, programming, media, business, and public policy. But the world did not change evenly. ChatGPT did not replace search overnight. Human expertise did not become unnecessary. The model still made mistakes, and it still required verification, context, and judgment. What changed fastest was expectation. People began asking a new question. Why should software only show me tools and links? Why can't it understand what I'm trying to do and help me create the answer? Now return to that blank chat box. The remarkable part is not that it always knows the truth. It does not. The remarkable part is how quickly an unfamiliar interaction became ordinary. Ask, revise, continue, generate. November 30th, 2022 was not the day artificial intelligence was invented. It was not the day the entire world changed. It was the day a research preview made generative AI tangible to the public and started a rapid shift in everyday behavior.